Hello YouTube, it's Lion here with Hobbies of a Man once again, and today we are doing another reading log. Today's reading log is going to cover what I read in the month of November. Now, November was kind of tough. It wasn't a really great reading month. Well, kind of. It wasn't a great reading month in the sense that I didn't really read for most of the month. I didn't have time to start reading until around the 20-something of November, which is just this past week. I had a lot of tests, and the year was winding down, right? The 25th was my last day of class. I still have a test on the 4th and the 8th of December, but this week was really slow going, and so I finally had time to read. And I did take advantage of that, and I read some interesting stuff, but if it would have been a regular month, I think I would have read a lot more, and I kind of missed the opportunity to read regular fantasy books, or like traditional epic fantasy Western style literature. And that kind of sucks because that's some of my favorite type of literature. But I did get to read a lot of manga. I threw in a comic book, and I got 2 light novels and 2 Hamlet books. So I guess overall it was a pretty good month. I just would have liked it if it wasn't all really cramped in the last couple days. So I read everything that I'm showing you right now in like a week. Which is not much. I would have preferred it over a longer period of time, even if I had only read the same amount of books, but it doesn't really matter. And at the end of the day, I did end up enjoying what I read, so it's all good, like, in that sense. But yeah, let's just jump into it. So I'm gonna tell you everything that I've finished reading first. I'll give you a little bit of an explanation about why I liked each thing, or what I didn't like, I guess. And then I'll tell you what I haven't finished reading just yet, but that I am hoping to finish today and tomorrow, since today's the 29th and tomorrow's the 30th. And that will round out my reading log for this month. But yeah, so let's just jump into it. So the first thing I read was Eden Zero 1, 2, and 3. If you guys saw my video yesterday, you saw that I got 4 and 5, and this is why, because I read this and I really enjoyed it. Now, this is by the same guy that did Fairy Tail. As you can see, the characters look very, very similar. You know, that's Natsu with black hair. That's Lucy, but thicker. That's Urza. That's a new guy. What's over here? Oh, that's Wendy, but grown up. I don't know who that is. A new guy, I guess. So, Eden Zero is basically Fairy Tail, but kind of in space. It's not really... That's not really a fair comparison. I would say that it's space fantasy, which is what Star Wars is supposed to be, although a lot of people say Star Wars is science fiction, but it's not really, because Jedi are wizards, and the science doesn't really matter. It's just like there so that you can go through each planet, and the lore is really mostly around the magic, which is kind of the same situation here. Now, since it's a Mashima work, it does have all of those wonderful, like, ridiculous tropes of, you know, over-the-top friendship and brotherhood, and like the power of friendship being what powers each individual and what makes them, you know, like as powerful as they are, which I understand is ridiculous, and I agree that it is ridiculous, but it's so fun and so enjoyable. This is like the epitome of fun literature for young men, and I really enjoy it. Plus, the fact that this is a lot better planned out than Fairy Tail is wonderful. I mean, at the end of one of these volumes, Mashima says, you know, this is somewhat planned out, like semi-outlined, whereas Fairy Tail was not at all. So this is great. By the end of the first volume, we know what the end goal is. It's to go find this kind of godlike figure called Mother, which is like this giant planetary-sized woman, and that's really cool. And there's a lot of time travel situations that occur, and it's really fun, and I really enjoy how it turns out. So Eden Zero is probably going to be one of the series that I try to collect as closely as possible, meaning I'll go buy new copies of the books so that I can read them consistently as they come out. I think there's 11 books now, and I own 5 of them, so over Christmas I'll probably buy the other 6. But yeah, that's basically it for Eden Zero. The next thing I read was Vinland Saga, Volume 1 or Omnibus 1. Now, the content of the book was really great. I love Vikings right now. I mean, I've watched a lot of Viking shows, or well, not really Viking shows, but like historical dramas, and they've all kind of dealt with Viking-esque people. Last Kingdom is about the Danes. Barbarians on Netflix was about Germanic tribes, which are not the same thing as Vikings, but pretty precursory to Vikings. And I've been really enjoying the Vikings TV show right now. And it's so good. And I really enjoyed reading this because it gave me more of that, but from a different side, from a different reality, I guess, because this is supposed to be Iceland. And most of the shows that I've watched are like the golden era of the Viking era, like the original kind of when the Vikings were really strong. And so it's kind of interesting to see them kind of, in a sense, in a decline and kind of turning away from their old ways, and it's kind of cool. So yeah, I mean, I really liked the kind of future section that was, you know, the first couple of chapters, and the flashback, the prequel kind of situation was a little jarring at first, but overall it was really good, and I really enjoyed it, you know, at the end. And I'm really excited to read more of this. But yeah, there's one thing I do want to complain about, and it's that the construction quality of these is garbage. Did you guys hear that creak? Yeah, look at this. That's not supposed to happen. It's not supposed to be that easy to see through it. As you can see, the glue is coming off here. And I haven't really done anything except read this book. I read it like this. I'm not even opening it completely. And it like started, you know, coming apart. So I'm going to have to glue this. But I'm not going to glue it until after I review it so that I can complain about it a lot during the review. So yeah, now the next thing I read was Prison School Volume 3. Now here is kind of like where the plot line really kicks in, and where like the boys are struggling to stay in school and not kind of get beat up by the girls and kind of eliminated or expelled from school. And I really enjoyed this volume. I think it was slightly funnier than the last two, although I guess it might have been the mood I was in. But there's a lot more story in it, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was cool. I thought it was interesting that kind of more of the male characters are getting female companions or people that are in the school that are vouching for them. I think that's really good, and it works really well. But yeah, not much to say about this one because I don't want to spoil all my thoughts for the review, so I'll just move on from this. Next, I read Wotakoi, Volume 1. Now, this is really good. I don't think it's really worth $18, but it was a really nice kind of enjoyable, empathic story about nerds in love, and I think that was really good. To an extent, I think the plight of the nerd trying to find love is a little overdone. I mean, it comes off a little too contrived. Like, people don't really care what you like that much. Now, I mean, I guess that might be a Western perspective, and the reality in Japan might be different, but it seems a little too, like, extra. Like the difficulties of dating someone when you're a nerd or an otaku were a little too played up, in my opinion. But overall, I think it worked well, and it highlighted the kind of aspect that they were going for, is that once you find the person that really jives with you, it doesn't really matter your differences or your similarities, because you're just gonna love each other, I guess. I think that was kind of like the message that they were going for. I think I would like to read this again, and it would be really fun, but I don't know if I'll pick up the next volume anytime soon, just because it does seem a little too expensive for what is being offered. However, some of the stories in here were really good, and I really enjoyed my time reading it. Now, we're getting into the light novels. I mean, I read some more manga, but I read 2 light novels after I finished Wotakoi, because I was kind of tired of manga. So the first one I read was High School DxD. Now, High School DxD was one of the early anime that I watched that I remember clearly, where it was like, oh yeah, this is really fun. I'm going to really enjoy watching this. Mostly it was because boobs, but the book is kind of different. The boobs and the kind of like fan service is still there, and it's still prominent, and some of the dialogue that Issei has is very over the top raunchy, and it's kind of like, it's almost annoying, but there's a lot more to this story than the anime kind of portrays. I mean, Issei is a horrible pervert, and he wants to become the big bad demon in order to kind of have a harem. But he also deeply cares about the people that he's interested in and the people that kind of are his family now that he's a demon. And so it's kind of different from how the anime kind of portrays it. And I really liked that. I thought it was really good. The only thing I can complain about this is that it was really short for $15, and that the spine kind of overlaps a little bit. It kind of comes up here and back here, and you can see it. And I don't really like that because, as you can see right there, it's really difficult to like read properly because it's so close to the edge. And Yen Press is such a big company. I think that they should have better quality control, I guess, or like should be able to deal with this better than just like making it fit as like tightly as they can. There should have been a better way to do this. But that's my own complaint there. Now, the next thing I read is I've been killing slimes for 300 years and maxed out my level. This was like a godsend. I did not expect this to be so enjoyable. Now, this is a girl that gets overworked. She dies. She gets reincarnated as an immortal, and she lives a very leisurely life. She doesn't really have to do anything except the bare necessities to be alive, or to live somewhat comfortably. But since she's immortal, those very minimal tasks eventually build up to a very high level in terms of like combat ability, because she kills slimes. And she turns out to be super overpowered. And it's really funny because she doesn't really care. She's just like, oh, this is going to be bad because people are going to want to try to fight me now, and I don't want that. And through the course of people coming to fight her, she kind of gathers a little family for herself. And it's really interesting, and it's really cute and soft and enjoyable and kind of really relaxing. And it helps you kind of unwind and kind of just enjoy the little things in life, I guess. And it was really good. I really enjoyed it. I thought every chapter and kind of every shift in focus from one character to the next was really good. And I really enjoyed the kind of life that this witch lives. And I thought the sapphic, I don't know how to say that word, but like the undertones of Yuri that are present here, the Yuri baiting, I guess, was really cute. It really worked, although it was kind of funny because she was like, oh no, I'm not a lesbian, but then she would say a lot of stuff that is like, dude, come on, you're checking this other girl out, what's going on? And it was just kind of funny. It was cute. There was nothing really over the top, you know, not safe for work or anything, but it was just really enjoyable and soft and easygoing, and I really, really enjoyed it. Okay, so the next thing I read was Pride of Baghdad. This is given to me by my buddy Darth Penn from Darth Penn Comics and Manga. I think that's the full name. I'll leave it up here. Can't remember what his YouTube channel's name is, but Darth Penn gave it to me. And I thought this was really cool. This is by Brian K. Vaughan, Darth Penn's favorite author. And it's about lions. So like me, right? So, that's just a stupid way to describe it. But basically, it's a really interesting kind of story. It's, what is it? So, a pride of lions escaped in Baghdad in 2003 during an American bombing. And we follow them as they kind of find their freedom to an extent. But it's not really a happy story of escape and finding yourself. It's more of a like kind of downtrodden, kind of semi-sucky story. And I thought it was interesting. It was really short. It was easy to read. I really enjoyed it. But I'm not really sure what the point of it was. Like, it was very thought-provoking, and maybe that was the point, but there was no resolution to the issue, so I don't know what the real point of the story was. But overall, it was really interesting, and I think it's cool that Brad Meltzer from like the TV show Decoded, I think, gave him a review. I thought that's super cool. But yeah, so I read that, and then I read No Game, No Life, Volume 1. Now, No Game, No Life, I don't know what to think about this. So it's like raunchy in an uncomfortable way. It's also written in a way that's kind of odd. There's times where people say things, but it's not in quotation marks. It's in like lines and like M dashes. And then there's times where you get specific thoughts from a character in M dashes when they're not the point of view character. And there's times where grammatically the sentence structure doesn't really make sense. And the tone is kind of conversational. But there's moments where it's like uncomfortably raunchy about like a lolly character that I really was not jibing with. However, the kind of idea of removing war but still leaving conflict causing a lot of issues, and then humanity being the weakest race in this world, and just the over-the-top versions of the games that exist was really, really interesting, and the story was generally compelling. So I'm very caught between between two ideas. I want to hate this because it was really not that fun to read when it was that weird raunchy kind of over-the-top lolliness, lolicon-esque kind of stuff. But everything else was super awesome. So I am very confused about this. I think I'll have to reread this book again and then decide. But right now, I'm just kind of in this limbo state where I can't decide what I feel about this. I really did not like the lolly aspect. Maybe I'll just watch the anime instead. It's kind of worse to see it instead of reading it, but I won't remember it as much. So it won't bother me. Plus, I think the anime looks really nice. So I'm not really sure what to do with this book. Someone tell me what you think about No Game, No Life down in the comments. I would really appreciate it. So that's almost done. Okay, I read two books that I'm not going to mention here physically because they're only digitals. I read Creation Mage 3 by Dante King, which is super fun. It was hilarious. Laugh out loud. Like, I actually laughed out loud when some of the characters were just doing things. Dante King has really, like, found a specific niche, I think, with Creation Mage. This kind of, like, over-the-top, funny, like, bro dude style that works really well. And there's a lot of compelling stuff in Creation Mage that really follows the rule of cool, but still very, like, interesting. And Creation Mage is one of my favorite harem-lit series that I've read so far. Not that I've read many, but it's one of the ones that I think is the coolest, or at least the most fun to read. Now, the other thing I read was Bring City, also by Dante King. This is kind of a different style. It kind of follows similar plot points, I guess, as Creation Mage. Like, the whole main character's parents were really meaningful people to the place where the main character now resides in that he didn't live in before. And there's, like, a lot of phrases and stuff that he mentions in both. But Bring City is a really interesting concept. It's a mob boss carving out his mob kingdom, his family mafioso region, his operation, I guess, in a heavily, like, magical area. It's urban fantasy, you know, mixed in with, like, mafioso mobster movies. And that's really interesting. I don't think I've heard of another harem-lit series that's like that. And if there is one, please let me know in the comments. I would love to read it. But, you know, urban fantasy is mostly aimed at women because it's usually paranormal romance kind of stuff. I mean, obviously there's some exceptions, but this is really interesting in the sense that it's urban fantasy aimed at men with a male character, male kind of centered idea. And the characters are really interesting. We have our main character who's like this semi-magical human, demi-human kind of situation. A goblin who's like the funny guy. And then some female characters, obviously. They're all really interesting. I really enjoyed how Brink City kind of developed. I won't say anything more so I could review it, fully, but that's basically it for me on that. Now, the last couple things I've been reading are Bakuman. I already read this. I'm almost done with this one, and this is what I'm going to read later after this video. Now, Bakuman is really interesting. It's by the creators of Death Note, and it's about making manga. It's a manga about making manga. And I thought it was going to be really boring originally, but there's a lot of compelling aspects to this story, and I'm really enjoying that. I did not expect it to be as deep as it is. It's all about following your dreams and kind of figuring out the best way to do them and not giving up regardless of the situation. There's also some kind of romantic elements thrown in and this kind of race against time kind of situation going on, which I think is really well done. It kind of brings a lot of extra power to what's going on in the story. But yeah, it's a very text-heavy series, which is I think it's basically par for the course for Takeshi Obata and Tsugumi Oba, but it's really good. I'm really enjoying it, and I want to check out more, but I'm not sure when I'll get to buy more of them. That's basically it. That's all I've been reading this month. Hopefully, I can make some really good videos soon, and maybe get a video out every day this month if I can. That would be actually really cool. So yeah, thank you guys very much for watching. If you did enjoy, please leave a comment down below. Let me know what you thought about the video or any of the books that I mentioned. And yeah, thank you guys very much for watching. See you guys later.